Hi, ready? So part of the writing process can be annotating your draft. You should be getting pretty comfortable with annotating now because hopefully you're doing it every time you read. But annotating your own draft can help you get some perspective on your writing and help you get your ideas clear. It's pretty similar to making what I call an afterline or what other people call a reverse outline, but I'm going to show you how to do it. The other reason why I wanted to show you this is because it's always good to see what other student writing is like. And this is an actual piece of student writing for my class this summer. It's a little different topic from what we're working on, but it should be interesting for you to see, I hope. So notice as I'm doing this, first, what I'm not paying attention to. I'm not really looking at grammar. I'm not really looking at spelling. I'm not making sure that everything is said in exactly the right way. And as I'm reading it, I will have like two different voices. I will have like, oh, I'm the student and I'm reading this as if I'm the student. And then I'm also gonna like kick over into I'm the teacher, and I just want to tell you like this thing that I would say because I'm the teacher and this is how I would read it. Okay, so two voices going on here. I won't actually make two voices because that might be too silly even for me. But two voices going on here as I'm reading this. So first, I'm the student and this is my draft and I'm reading it, and I want to be asking myself, what's the question that I'm asking? What's my thesis that I'm answering it with? Is it the right question? Is it a good question? And how's my thesis? Where's my thesis? I'm going to start with just the introduction here. Okay, so I'm reading. Who am I? Okay, good. I have a title. How do we create identities? Okay, yeah, that's the question. So here's my question. I'm going to underline. I already underlined that. I got that underlined. I'm going to make a note here. Here's my question. Okay. And then I'm going to keep reading. By the way, if you don't know how to do this kind of thing in Word, just ask. I can teach you, or you can Google it, look it up, but I'm happy to teach you if you want to get a little better at using the revision tools in Word. And if you don't have Word, I can show you how to download it for free from your Mercer account. So here we go. Continuing on, carrying on. According to Who Am I, written by Beverly Tatum, Tatum states that the concept of identity is a complex one, shaped by individual characteristics, family dynamics, historical factors, and social and political contexts. That's a good quote, right? Now I'm going to be a teacher for a minute. And popping over into teacher voice, I'm saying this is a good quote because it's right on topic. This quote is saying she's asking, how do we create identities? And that's the quote that answers what identities are. So that's a good quote. Yeah, I like seeing that. The idea, now I'm a student again. The idea of identity is a very difficult to understand and formed by many of the factors of individual characteristics, family dynamics, and historical factors, and political context, and formed by the expectations in society and many different values and morals in life that's shaped by the world around us. So they're like, I'm thinking, is this my thesis? Is this my answer? I don't know. Here I'm like, is this my thesis? I'm the student, remember? So like, all right, I'm saying something about the quote. Is it okay to, I'm just really not sure. Okay, imagine a college student who is a young man who is mixed race. He might say that he identifies as Black. Then we might ask where that idea of Black comes from. Is it from the media, from laws and traditions, from his family, friends? I'm going to be a teacher again. Wait, here I am. I'll come over to the side. I should have like a hat and have like no, that would be really goofy, huh? Okay, so now being teacher again, I'm going to say, I really like that. I really like that example. It's a good example. And that good example is a good way to start your essay. And I can imagine her coming back to that example in her conclusion and using that as a really good frame for her essay. So teacher, I like the example. Also, like me as a reader, when I'm being the student and I'm reading my own essay, hey, that example helps me understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, carrying on. Identity, such as race, created by influences in society and the people all around and your neighborhood has also shaped your identity. Bam, I think that's my thesis. Thesis, is that my thesis? I'm even gonna like highlight this because I think that's my thesis. I think that's my thesis, okay? I'm not sure it's exactly the right thesis. I'm not sure, I don't need to, do something to make that thesis sound better, but I think that's my thesis. And it's right where it should be if I'm gonna be the teacher again. It's good to have your thesis be the last line in your introduction because That's kind of where teachers expect it to be. There's no like rule, like the thesis police are not going to show up at your house if your thesis is not the last line in your introduction. But it's a good idea because then, you know, the teacher sees it there and the teacher's like, hey, look at this genius student who put their thesis right at the end of their introduction. Remember, you're going to English 101, I hope, in the spring. You guys will all be in English 101 and your teachers are going to want to see that. Okay, I could keep going here. Next paragraph. In addition to identity, people defined by the color of their skin and not who they are as human beings. So I think here I'm like kind of half student and half teacher reading this. I think I'm trying to make a point here that part of identity is race, but it's a little bit confusing how I'm saying it. So I'm going to highlight that and maybe make a comment to myself. Maybe here I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a note. This is the point. It's confusing. Okay, according to Tatum, people commonly defined by their race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, age, and physical or mental ability. For example, we are segregated by zip codes in schools. As a teacher, I'm like, oh God, I like the example. In schools, have people segregated due to their ethnicity and identity. Colored people don't have the same. By the way, we don't really use the phrase colored people anymore. It seems to be sneaking back into our language. We talk about people of color. Colored people is like very kind of 1950s and it's a little cringy. So anyway, colored people don't have the same education opportunities as white people due to racism and resources. According to School Segregation, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, Oliver states that Blacks and Latinos are likely to attend schools where teachers are inexperienced, which is unlikely, offer a college prep curriculum, and how race and class are inextricably linked together. Colored people have a higher chance of attending schools where teachers are inexperienced and are unlikely to offer college prep curriculum, and how race and class linked together. So this sentence is, I think that's where I'm like, that's my point. That's my point. But the teacher part of me is like, it's a little confusing. Like the teacher part of me is saying that's kind of confusing. Maybe even the student part of me is like, I didn't say that really clearly. I have a point there. And the teacher part of me, I'm being a teacher now. The teacher now is, wait, as the teacher, no. The teacher part of me likes that this paragraph starts with a point, has a quote, then an example, which you can see is what we've talked about in class. It goes into even more detail with another example from another one of the texts, and then wraps it up again at the end. So I really like, as a teacher, I really like the shape of this paragraph, but the writing needs to be a little clearer. The student hasn't quite fully thought through what she's trying to say. But as a writer, being a writer now, I'm the writer, I'm reading my writing. Like, especially if I come back a day or two later and I read this sentence, it's like, what am I trying to say there? And then I know that's where I need to focus my attention. So that's how you can use annotating to help clarify your own writing. Like I said, if you need help with the word tools, let me know, and go and watch that reverse outline video too. All right.